Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Pena, and Charlie asked me to share with you guys about classical conversations. A little bit about me. I am a homeschool mom to two girls. Um, I live in Montana and I work full time as a software and web developer. And we started classical conversations in my oldest daughter's year of first grade. Um, and A little bit about my story into CC. Um, we started out doing workbooks. I forget which curriculum it was, but my daughter, she's a quick learner and she loves to learn, but she was super frustrated with the workbooks. And being that she was so young, it was a lot for her. And I sat down with her one day and she was just in tears. And I was just trying to figure out what to do. And sometimes I just aimlessly scroll through Facebook to give my mind a little bit of a break. And I came across an ad for classical conversations. And so I called the number, and the lady I talked to told me a little bit about it, and I was sold immediately. Where do I sign up? And I really feel that God called us to CC, and it has been such an amazing journey for us. And I'm so excited that I get to share this with you guys today. So, what is a classical education? A classical education is based off of a method, and there are many different curriculums that use the classical method. And basically, a classical method teaches values and virtues through great literature, arts, music, and science. It's a child-centered method of teaching, and it's student driven. We'll dig into that a little bit more later, but basically the goal is to teach your child how to learn and encourage that throughout, so that as they become adults and go on in life, they are basically lifelong learners. It gives well-rounded instruction in all subjects, and the education transitions along with the child development stages. And those stages are rhetoric, dialectic, and grammar. And so we'll dive into these a little bit more later, but they start out at the root, which is grammar, and they're soaking in the knowledge, memorizing a broad base of facts. And then they move on to dialectic, where they grow in understanding. So they're asking questions like why and how. And then they move on to the rhetoric, where they start bearing fruit in their wisdom and applying and using integrity in the subjects. So a little bit more about classical education. It embraces the concept of educating the whole child and the notion that children are more than standardized test scores. Classical schools are unique among school choices because of three main reasons: a virtuous education, a content-rich curriculum, and a traditional classroom environment. So think back to the one-room schoolhouses where the older kids are learning right alongside the younger kids. And what I have found is this encourages a child who may not be a super curious learner or super into a certain subject, like math, for instance. Playing math games in a room where you have younger and older kids only encourages the younger kids to try harder and to really study at home, so that when they come back together, they're wanting to push forward. And so classical education is sometimes called leadership education because it builds skills for leadership. And so they use many techniques and really cool things like logic, debate, public speaking, clear reasoning, researching, writing, and communicating. These skills are practiced as a part of the curriculum in every subject, and it prepares the students to be leaders in any field that they pursue. So what is CC and what makes it different? Well, Classical Conversations, or CC, as you might hear some moms call it, it's a proven Christian homeschool program created by parents for parents. They do it through a Christ-centered and family-friendly approach to homeschooling. It takes everything biblical and hospitable, focused on 3 simple key areas: classical, Christian, and community. The home education program covers K4 to college credit, and includes college degree opportunities for parents as well. And I'll go into that more later. They believe that you are the best educator for your student, which was huge for me. And they make the homeschool journey doable. They not only provide you with a consistent roadmap that you can follow at your own pace and your child's pace, but you can also connect with a local homeschool community group that gives you accountability and support of knowing you are not alone in this journey. From its origins in 1997, with 11 students and parents in the basement of Lee Borton's North Carolina home, to now serving over 45,000 families across 50 countries globally. Classical Conversations was founded, and it always will be, about family. The Borton's family values following God's guidance in teaching other families how to train up their children in the way that they should go. And all of this just really stands out in the program. So they believe, this is like the CC motto, and I love it. The purpose of education is to know God and to make him known. And if you ever get to attend ACC Practicum, which is a yearly event they hold to introduce the program to new families who are curious, or to give a refresher or a renewal of spirit, so to speak, for homeschool moms every year, they really drive home this motto. And I've had the opportunity to hear from kids who have graduated from this program, and it holds true. This program really is about making God known, and they use so many different techniques, like I had discussed before, like logic and debate. And these techniques are so crucial in today's age, with proving that God exists, for example. And these kids are equipped and prepared before college to stand up and be able to represent their beliefs. It's just so amazing. They also believe God trusts parents with their children, and so should we. So they do not take over the job of the parent as the teacher. They only just help promote you as the parent and the child throughout the program. So you are still the teacher. You are still that authority over your child, and your child is still looking at you like you are the authority over them. And it's a really sweet way of handling this. They believe wrestling with truth promotes blessing and virtue for the whole community. Education is the responsibility of the family, with support from fellow believers, and the support of community enhances our ability to fulfill parental duties. So basically, God has entrusted you with your children, and He entrusts that you will do a great job of educating them. And no one knows our children better than we moms do. And sometimes with my own kids, I know I can explain things to them in a way that I don't think other people would necessarily be able to. So just taking hold of that responsibility, and this community just only supports that. So how does CC work? So you have a SR who is over the area, the local area, and then you have, and in that area, you may have more than one campus, so to speak. These campuses are, when I talk about community, this is where you go to meet for your community day. It's one day a week for a certain number of weeks. And then outside of that, the rest you can do at home. You also have a director, and the director's responsibility is to coordinate that community day and everything that goes along with that. We do, for example, in one program, we do a hands-on science experiment and an art project. And the director's job is to make sure that all the materials for those are provided to the tutors. So that basically you bring your lunch, you bring your kids, you bring your book, or whatever your kid would need for that day, like outside of, they need like a lunch, your main book, and then you would, they would need a presentation of some sort, depending on what program they're in. But outside of that, it's all provided for you, easy peasy. The tutors, your child would be assigned to a tutor, and that tutor introduces the new material for that week. And they do it in fun ways, and kind of give you an idea of how you can work on that at home. So if it's a game or a song, you can take those ideas from the tutor and reintroduce those throughout the week at home. So the tutor's job is to introduce the material, but not to replace your job as the teacher. They are only there to just kind of help bridge the way for you to be able to do it at home, and kind of help give you ideas and support in that way. They also provide a lot of resources. Now, CC's one main thing about this is stick in the sand. Keep it super easy. If you can write it with a stick in the sand, then you're doing something right. So, their idea is to not go overboard with resources more than what you feel is a good fit for your family and is not super overwhelming. But they do have apps, they have CDs, they have a online website that you can pull material from. Worksheets, if your child really loves worksheets and wants to sit and do worksheets. I have one of those. So you can go online to their resource and print those out. And there's a ton of other moms who are uploading a ton of resources on that website. So you can pull from different moms, or you can share your idea if you have one. One of the really cool things about this program is that you can actually earn money to pay back some of that tuition. And so you can do that by being a tutor, being a director, or even moving yourself up to being an SR if you feel so called to. And then they also offer a degree program for moms whom are just homeschooling and being a part of CC. And because you're teaching these subjects, they count it as being able to do that as having the opportunity to have a degree. And so they have a program for that. if you are interested. So how does CC address the classical method? Well, they have those 3 trivium stages I talked about before. So they have the grammar stage, the dialectic stage, and the rhetoric stage. The grammar stage, CC comes at that stage by having your child memorize basic facts or vocabulary that's related to every subject. So for example, for history, you might have a history sentence and it's about, some basic history event that happened, and you memorize the sentence along with the year, usually along with the date. They make it really fun. They make it, they'll put it with a song, and they'll have hand movements, and it sounded to me anyway, like, oh, my kid will never be able to do that. And actually, like, they really can, especially the age group that they have this stage for. They really are memorizing everything. Think about, how kids, they'll come up and say, "Mommy, what's that?" And you say, "Oh, that's called a stapler." Or that's called a pencil, and your kid memorizes that, and they know now that's what that thing is. And so that's what the grammar stage is all about. Like I said before, these stages are built based off of a child's developmental stages. And so this is perfect for this age group. Then they move on to the dialectic stage, where they're starting to sort and analyze and understand all of these facts that they've been learning. We'll go into more of what that looks like practically. And then the rhetoric stage, you can apply they begin to apply their understanding of the subject. So they might teach it to others, they might write a paper, they might give a speech. So those are some different ways that they apply that information that they are learning. So going to that grammar stage, like I said, they're taking on vocabulary and they're naming things. What is it? And I talked about example, they repeat songs, rhymes is another one, or pronouncing really big words. And so this program that tackles the grammar stage is called Foundations. And in the Foundations program, they will, develop these building blocks in science, math, geography, Latin, English, history, fine arts, and public speaking. So they actually give a little presentation. It's kind of like show and tell in a way, but you can make it however you want that fits for your family. We tend to do educational topics, so that way they're kind of, my kids are having to think about what would I be interested in learning more about, and we study that out and make a poster or write a paper, or do a few quick notes of speaking points. And it really helps a child blossom into public speaking. My youngest daughter was not huge on this part, and now she rocks it. She gets in front of the class and does an amazing job. And I'm so excited that we took on this program, and I kept working with her and encouraging her and building her up in that way, and now I know she'll have no problem going forward and any public speaking that may come into her life. And so this program is 24 weeks long. Oh, I also forgot to mention that this program is for ages 4 to 11. We started, I think my oldest daughter was 6 and my youngest was 4. You don't have to start at age 4. You don't have to start really at any level. It's such a great program that's super flexible, and you can bounce in at any age really, but that's the age requirements. They are really strict about the age requirements for the different programs for a very important reason. I also was thinking about this. My youngest daughter, she tends to have a little bit more of a development disability, or not development, learning disability when it comes to certain subjects. And because this program is little to no worksheets, I mean, we do writing and stuff like that, of course, but because it's so much just about singing songs and really just kind of having fun, we play games and different things. Um, it really helped establish her confidence, but also helped her be able to move along with the other kids her own age. Whereas if it was a typical public classroom setting, I don't think that that would be true. So the next phase we have is dialectic. And at the dialectic stage, they're starting to, like I said before, sort, compare, understand the words and rules that they've been learning. And to do this, they'll start actually, constructing sentences, breaking down, subject, predicate, and writing papers and reading a little bit of literature. And the programs that cover this stage are Essentials, Challenge A, and Challenge B. So in the Essentials program, your child, if you notice, the ages are 9 to 11. So that corresponds with the Foundations ages as well. So this is actually an afternoon class. So you'll have Foundations in the morning from about 9 to noon typically. And then you'll have a lunch break and come back for an Essentials class if your child is between ages 9 and 11. Actually, the length of this program is also 24 weeks, not 30 weeks. So sorry about that. And in this program, they will cover English, grammar, and writing. It's a super, super interactive class. It's not your typical, read a book, write a book report. This is more engaging, and the tutor's job is to help your child be able to explore their creative side and feel comfortable popping off different ideas, and it's supposed to be really fun and more about getting down different steps and techniques versus having to have it exactly right. So this gives your child that opportunity to build confidence in writing papers without, that constant, there's so many different things in grammar and writing that can be wrong. So this is more about how do I read a paper and get that into writing a paper? How do I put together a sentence that sounds interesting, and how can I add in really fun words, like ly adverbs, or different vocabulary. They study really, really extensive vocabulary, and they use that in their papers. And so they're not just learning these words and tossing them out the window, they're applying them in their papers, which helps that stick. And then they move on to Challenge A, and in Challenge A, they have literature, natural science, cartography. So there's a lot of map tracing and map drawing, Latin, analogies, and math studies. And this is for ages 12 and up. So they are done with Foundations, they're done with the Essentials, they are now in Challenge A, and this program is 30 weeks long. And then they move on to challenge B. And in challenge B, there's literature, science. They do a mock trial where they actually go to a courthouse, and some of them are lawyers. One of them they present in front of a judge, I do believe, and they have a whole defense and everything. It's really great. Logic, Latin, and math studies. And this is for ages 13 and up for 30 weeks. And then they move on to the rhetoric stage. And this is where they begin to really apply and really understand, all of that naming, and then all of that sorting and exploring and asking those questions. Now they're starting to apply that. And they do that through writing papers, reading a lot of literature, classic literature, and then they also explore deeper topics such as British literature, poetry, and government. And one thing that I think is super cool about this program is the literature. And I think a lot of people today cannot understand classic literature. They don't hardly read it anymore because they can't understand it. And so we're trying to go back to that and help bridge those gaps. And so these programs are challenge 1, 2, 3, and 4. And challenge 4 is actually optional, but some people do it. And so you have challenge 1, and that's American literature, economics, government, physical science, drama, and formal logic, and math studies. And so they'll actually do debate teams, they'll have science labs, group discussions, and of course, the best part, they form lifelong friendships. And this is for ages 14 and up, and it's 30 weeks long. And then there's challenge 2, which is protocol, British literature, art and music history, biology, logic and drama, Latin, and math studies. And this is for 15 and up, and it's 30 weeks. And then in challenge 3, they actually have a poetry cafe, American history, Shakespeare, chemistry, music theory, philosophy, Latin, and math. And students begin to take leadership responsibilities under the guidance of their tutor, which is amazing. So at this point, your child should be taking the reins on their own education. And so that means, you're there for guidance, you're there for encouragement, but other than that, they know the work that they have to do, and they should be doing it on their own, which I think is awesome. And then in challenge 4, they actually do a senior thesis, which is probably the main portion of challenge 4, but they also cover ancient literature, world history, physics, theology, Latin, and math. And this is for ages 16 and up, which is 30 weeks long. And so that's the end of my presentation on classical conversations. I wanted to include my information in case anyone has any questions or wants information on how to get in touch with a local SR director. But you can also check out their website, classicalconversations.com. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the homeschooling conference. Thank you. God bless.